Okay. Seems to have worked that time. That's a bit weird. Okay. Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've done a SPACErview episode, hasn't it? It's pretty nuts. Welcome to a SPACErview episode. It's pretty crazy. I've forgotten how to host anything. I hope you have realized that. The last stream we did was with some tiny YouTubers that made something small, like, I think it was a Nightly Manor. I'm not sure what you call it. It was so tiny I forgot about it. This time, though, I don't know how to, because it was so long ago, I don't remember how to interview, or how to do anything. So, we're going to do this very blind. I have questions here. I haven't even spoken to these people in real life. So, this will be the first time even talking to them. We have a few questions here. As you can see, they're already sitting here. You're just meant to pretend they aren't alive yet. Hi everyone, Marker's Adventures, new time number. Welcome everyone. SPACErview's back. Bit crazy, right? Okay. We're gonna give them a call. We're actually talking to two people today. We're talking to Fiber. We're talking to Fiber. It's the creator, the main creator of this. Their username's different than their YouTube. And then we're also talking to another creator. It's like two creators of the same show. It's pretty nuts. Let me tell you. So they're streaming on their channel, which is a bit crazy as well, which is like the time that I interviewed Pamtree, where they were also live streaming in their channel. So either their viewers are gonna love me or they're gonna hate me. So we'll get into it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 questions. It's not gonna be a long interview, it's only gonna be an hour. Long time no see. It is good seeing you again, yeah. What are the names that I was gonna say? I haven't been here for a long time. Right. Okay. I think I should give them a call. Let me just see if they're ready. Just messaging them. But no, like, this is the first time that someone's reached out to me wanting to be interviewed, which is very nice. You know, it means that I'm not reaching out to them. Okay, it's time to give them a call. I'm actually nervous, right, as to it. Hello?
Hello.
Hello!
We should probably make an announcement in the server about it.
Yeah, I'm about to do that.
Public service.
Right now we're on the stream about to start screen.
Yippee!
Make a public service announcement. Right. You guys are talking to Aiden, so stay away. It's terrifying. So it's lovely to meet yous.
Alright,
it's great to meet
we're about
you.
to be live.
Yeah, it is pretty great to be alive. I haven't interviewed people in a while. Last time I interviewed someone was maybe a few months ago, so I'm gonna be super rusty. But when aren't I? I have no idea what I'm doing 90% of the time. So, are you streaming on your end then?
Yeah.
Yes, we are streaming, and I am going to tune the instruments.
I'm just guessing that I got the audio right, to be honest. This 90% of just guesswork. But, yeah, let me just see. Make sure I'm all live, people can hear me. Okay.
Alright. Can you guys hear, one more time, Universal, speak up real quick, see if chat can hear you.
Beep beep bop boop, beep 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 pop boop boop boop. Beep beep.
Yeah, nice. Okay, good. Everyone can hear?
I hope so. Hopefully everyone's all good and they can all hear. So, oh, my comment section seems to be running the interview for me. They've already started the intro and everything. I haven't done anything, the comments are already introducing it. So, welcome to SPACErview. A very, professional show,
God.
which knows what they're doing all the time. Very hyper,
Mm-hmm.
very professional, very put together. We hope to win an Emmy someday. It's gonna
Naturally.
Be great. Naturally, yeah. I trust that you guys would vote for me to get an Emmy already.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. So I have 9 different questions for you. I don't know who does what, so obviously, if one person knows more than the other, you could just butt in. There isn't a question for one person in particular. So answer away. So the first question is just kind of a statement for anyone that doesn't know, but could you describe what is the broadcast objective in your own words?
Well-
You go ahead.
Sure. The broadcast objective is a show where we have our hosts Apple and Worm, and our contestants are on are on a private island where they are competing in various competitions for a mystery prize.
Ooh.
And so, yeah,
Yeah.
there's gonna be fun intrigue and shenanigans along the way.
Yeah, I'm sure it's become somewhat apparent at least that something nefarious is going on.
Yeah,
There's
something.
there's
Just
there's
a little
something
bit.
there's something
Something
deeper
devious.
below the surface.
Yeah, something, definitely not to do with murdering and hiding the bodies,
No murder, no nothing.
No, nothing about that. It's a really friendly, lovely show where nothing bad
Yeah.
ever happens, and all the contestants love each other.
Nothing bad ever happens.
Yeah,
People just like each other and are happy all the time.
that's it. That's exactly it. That's what, at least, what I thought of the show, But that's a really good description. So these more questions are going a bit into more detail into maybe the creation of it. And I think the first proper question is, where did this idea come from for creating this kind of object show?
Well, can I talk about our old idea for the show, Ray?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If I talk about that. So
Yeah.
initially,
You talk about that. I'll talk about the new.
we had another idea for a show before this show, and it had a very similar title
Talk about that,
and
though.
almost all the same characters. And to answer Average PD, yeah, we'll be answering chat questions. But
We're not answering if celery is Dutch, though.
we're not answering that. We had this premise. It was called Objective Escape, and it was gonna have this. It was gonna be the same contestants for the most part, but the difference was instead of Apple and Worm, there was this horrifying eldritch well, not really eldritch demon, lizard, who was
Very
a lizard.
similar- Very similar
Very
vibes
similar to
to
Worm.
Worm, of like the silly, goofy, chaotic, semi-nonsensical host. You know.
And the premise was, Lizard would abduct people into this void and make them compete because he was lonely. And then we discovered this cool show called HFJ1, and we were like, oh, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ari stole it from you. How rude of him.
Average PD. There's nothing wrong with the question. I just think it's funnier if we don't answer it.
Oh, what question?
Because we get it on like every episode, and I think it's hilarious.
It's so funny.
So, do you think...
Oh yeah. The lipstick show. So yeah. Aside from the contestants, the only thing that remains of the old show is the joke about lipstick makes my mouth taste funny. That was from the original show that is carried over for the whole 2 years that we've been making it.
Okay, so that's kind of a running joke that's
Be
stuck in the
Dutch
script.
if you want it to be
It can
Dutch.
be Dutch in your mind. Put a little Dutchman in your soul.
Okay.
Anyways, so, after that, well, part of it was also just, we didn't really like the host.
We just couldn't settle on a design. I wanted to
We
do
couldn't
something
settle on
original, and Wraith wanted to make it just the salamander from Homestuck.
Yeah. Can't confirm.
Okay.
But, after that, we decided that we weren't gonna use that anymore. And so I had kind of separately come up with the idea of having a host for a show, that was, an apple and a worm as co-hosts. And then I was like, what if we just use this for our show?
Yeah.
Which obviously takes it in a very different direction. And so after that, we had come up with an idea, but it was kind of like just ramshackled together. You know, it was a bunch of loose ideas that were kind of just squished together, and didn't really connect very well. I just wasn't happy with it. So one night I decided to, at like midnight, I just rewrote the entire thing, start to finish.
Oh wow.
Just completely new idea, new lore, new everything, and we've been going with that since.
Oh wow.
I remember in the process there were 2 characters that we had scrapped, and I don't quite remember what they were. I think it was like it was something or other. I think I can check the document right now. We had 2 characters we cut.
Is I'm trying to remember the character's name now. It's Beetroot. Right?
Yeah.
Just Beat.
Or just Beat. Is that darker kind of murderous character from the like first interpretation of it when it was kind of branching into like one territory?
Well, she was actually originally meant to be kind of a silly, goofy character with the murder. You know, his object shows murder. Murder can be as serious or non-serious as you want it to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the idea that we got for having Beat be a murderer is because this is gonna be so stupid. When you eat beets, it makes your poop look like there's blood in it, and we thought it would be funny if we made her a murderer because of that.
That's so
No, it's.
So you're telling me the creative process between Beat was looking at shit and going, this makes me want to make a murderous character. That's beautiful.
Kinda. And then as we made the show more serious, she evolved into a more serious character. But yeah, no, it was a very, very stupid, very silly reason.
I also think it's super interesting that this is like the object show community is the only community that you can actually say with a straight face, oh yeah, we're just goofing around and murdering people.
Yeah.
It's definitely down to how the writing kind of, you know, a big impact on the deaths of the characters. Like, BFB just kills their characters left, right, and sideways, but like something like maybe the Nightly Manor takes it so seriously.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting to see the different kind of writing. While we're talking about Beat, what was your kind of character? What was your process of creating the different characters from the show, like Beat? Although you already talked about Beat being a very creative way of thinking about murder, but how about the other characters? How did you come up with them?
Do you want to talk about this, Piper, or do you want me to? I've just been talking a lot, so.
Well, we have a lot of characters that were very attached to. You know, we've been thinking about them and all that sort of stuff for 2 years now, just over 2 years.
Oh.
And we gotta say that it's hard to talk about the characters and what we have intended for them without delving into spoiler territory.
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
I will say, it's just fun writing, in general.
Yeah.
And I would write for them a lot more if it weren't for the fact that we're limited by having to animate them.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Yeah.
Got so many ideas. And it's just
But
like,
we do have... We have a document of motivations and all stuff about them, and we have an entire show plan without giving too much away.
okay. So you've gotten the whole thing set up then, from start to finish.
We need to write
Generally,
more
we
stuff
have
down. We're not very good about that,
we have a
honestly.
loose- we have a beginning and an end, and that's
Okay. Is there an ending
I'd
where
say
Facebook wins?
Is there an ending where what? Oh.
That's the secret
That's
canon
the-
ending. Facebook just joins the final
That's the
two and
secret
wins.
ending.
Yeah. It's a pretty
Yeah,
great
yeah,
ending.
yeah.
But anyway, continue what you were gonna say before I made my awful joke.
Yeah, as I say, just kind of like circling back to the question, a lot of the process of creating the characters is just kind of starting with a loose idea or a silly gimmick, and then going from there and like realizing either, oh, this is boring, or we should do more with this, and just kind of like, you just start with something like very basic, and then you kind of build on it from there until you have like a full character. And honestly, we still are building on the characters. Even as the show is going, they're changing, and we're coming up with new ideas for them.
I would say,
so
though,
it's very much
I would say, though, we have very few characters I would describe as not really interesting. I feel like almost every character has something about them that makes them an interesting character.
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, at least, you know, I don't know if you would find this relatable. When it comes down to kind of writing a character, as you said, you know, you're starting with basics. It almost feels like once the more you get into a character's writing, the more they almost write themselves. And you kind of already subconsciously know what they're going to say, what they're going to do, while they slowly develop.
Yeah. No. There's a lot of them are like easy, and then there's a lot that were like a lot harder. Like Beat specifically, a lot of her stuff we hadn't really developed until like the show had already started.
I gotta say,
Because...
writing is fun,
Yeah.
Writing is fun, but we often butt heads on what direction we want to take things. Because we both have different visions for the show that we're compromising on, which is the best thing you can do is compromise.
Of course.
Yeah.
And there have been entire scenes that either were just like, this scene isn't good, that we've vetoed each other, or this scene is good, but not for this time. Have it later.
Yeah.
You know, we've dealt with that, and that's really the thing about collaboration is collaboration, you get the advantage of having other people to help you, but you also have the disadvantage of you have to listen to other people.
Yeah, of course. It's just coming up with a compromise, as you said. That both of you are happy where the show's going. Is there anything you can talk about that had to be cut out because you couldn't agree on putting it in properly, or?
I would, but it's something that we agree is something that we will include later.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
There's one scene from the next episode, and I won't give away anything specific, but it was so bad that any
It was
proofreaders
awful.
we showed were like, "This is terrible."
Oh.
Yeah.
So that was
Like,
the only
it
part of the script that was written. That one scene, which is going to be a very exciting scene in the next episode, was the one scene that was written entirely not by me. That was all Wraith.
That was all me. Fiber does most of the script writing. And I go in and I do like edits where I feel like it needs it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me as a writer, I'm mostly with like the broad strokes, right? Like the world building, the broader concepts, the like overarching plot. And then Fiber has a tendency to do more of the I mean, obviously she helps me with that. Also, she does a lot more of the smaller strokes of writing the individual episodes. I like that this chat is still talking about Dutch.
Yeah, great. But one thing I gotta say, the world building that Wraith has done, which won't be seen in full I'll say, this show won't be done for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just getting it off the bat. We have. Can we even say how many seasons we have planned? Each season is planned to be an act.
We're planning on 4 seasons.
Oh wow. Okay.
4 seasons, no more, no less. That's how the story will unfold, and there's nothing left to tell.
That's amazing. Yeah, the fact that you can, plan like 4 seasons, that's nuts. Like, studios can't even do that. Like, big studios struggle to even write their first season.
Well,
we're
we're definitely struggling.
Yeah.
We have
but
a lot
that
of
is
aspects.
that is our ideal.
Mm-hmm.
If
Wraith
everything
has done
goes
a
according-
fantastic job with the world building.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely tell that yous are. It's such an interesting thing to talk about, because I can tell that you guys are so collaborative on it, and you're both so passionate about it in your own ways. If you had to describe it in your own unique ways and why the show means so much to you, how would you do that? What is?
You want to go first?
Pardon, I didn't understand the question.
Also,
Could you rephrase
what-
it?
What does the broadcast objective mean to you? What makes you so passionate about the creation process?
Well, I would say, other than the aspect of creating something, I just like making stuff with Wraith. Wraith is my closest friend. We've been collaborators on different projects for about 3 years now, and obviously TBO is the biggest one, because in the past it's been, I've been getting help with my game I'm working on, or we've been working on this improv thing together. But TBO is the first thing we've really gotten together, and we've cracked down on something that's big and like impressive. And I respect Ray's creativity a lot, and I assume they respect mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. Yeah, it's lovely to hear you guys talk, because it's just I always ask everyone I interview the question of what does their respective show mean to them, because everyone's got such a unique kind of response to that, and it always comes out as like how passionate they are about the future of their project. And hearing you guys kind of have this huge team effort together of you two just being so passionate but also working on compromise together, it's so cool to hear. Any more to add to that, or?
Yeah. So on my end, for me, I really want to create a unique experience with our show, which has been my greatest driving force with this show, is to make it something unlike anything we've seen in this before.
Mhm.
So I've been working on a lot of world building, right? Which is one of my favorite things to do, just period. But without getting into too much details, a lot of object shows just kind of take for granted the setting, right? It's just there's objects that can talk and some objects can't talk, and they're doing a competition and there's no other thought put into it, right?
Mhm.
There's
No
no thought
disrespect,
into
of course.
no, it's like in a lot of them they don't need it, right? Um, but it's a lot of them are just like it is the way that it is without thinking about why are there objects? Why can they talk? Why can some of them not talk? Why do they act the way that they do? Why are they doing this show, right?
Mhm.
So it's been a lot of my driving force is to create a show that really kind of breaks that boundary of like actually explaining why things are the way that they are,
Yeah.
Why is there a whole world of objects that still have other objects that aren't sentient, right?
Yeah.
And just building a world that feels like it could be real is one of my favorite things to do. So that's been a lot of my passion with the show, is making these characters and these worlds that do something different.
Mhm. So
I like how I was like, I like having fun with my friend, and you were like, oh yeah, cartoons are cool. Anyway, my partner in chat brings up a cool point. Yeah, the first sketches of TBO characters were made on the same day as the January 6th insurrection.
Okay.
So that's a fun little fact.
Well, there's something. Will future episodes be like answering questions like that? Like, as you said, how are they alive? Why are they doing this? Will a lot of it get into that kind of lack of a better word, existential?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, there's going to be we can't talk about it now.
No.
Obviously, but it is going to be revealed in the lore. I've put a lot of this in for a reason. It's not just like vague background lore that we release in like behind the scenes footage. No, it's all very important plot.
If I can say something vague, one of the concepts we do touch on is general mortality.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say in the next episode or two you get an answer to some questions you might have.
Yeah. That does. Yeah, I would love to actually have that kind of in-depth look into the morals on that, because as I brought up, Turnup did kill. Was it Cloudy? I can't remember their name now. I called them Cloudy in the reaction.
Yeah. And by the way, I gotta say, as a viewer, I was like, "Oh my god, we have a reaction video," and then I saw you going, "Oh, TBO episode 1B. What's the B stand for? Boobs." And I was like, "Oh god."
I was such an idiot. I didn't think.
And you were like, "Oh, I'm glad they're skipping all the fluff," and I'm like, "No, but I like the fluff. We didn't."
Yeah, I literally looked at the 1B and my brain didn't click at all. I'm like, boobs, and then I moved on. And then at the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, right, there's a part A. I already had it recorded, so I was like, oh, I might as well just watch it out of sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my experience was amazing. It was a great show, but it was a reverse, which probably made it a little better actually, because the startup of it, I was asking questions about it, and then it kind of got answered in the first part, which I would have already known. But no, it was definitely a really unique show that, like, as soon as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is definitely different. Um, as you were saying, you know, a lot of object shows kind of push away the idea of a lot of questions, like as you know, the mortality and, you know, how heavy does murder really hold if, you know, they could just be recovered. One show, like a one object show kind of, that I would weirdly say doesn't cover the murder but kind of covers the reason why they're competing, is Inanimate Insanity Season 3. If you've seen the newest episode, I don't want to talk about it in case it gets people haven't in the comments. But when the quote-unquote anonymous person, which I won't spoil, gets eliminated, they kind of mention, oh yeah, I don't think my heart's in it anymore, and they expect, like, it kind of shows the impact of you know, that they're still caring about the game or still in it for certain reasons. And I would love to be able to see that way more in depth in your show, you know, like, why are we doing this? Where are we? What's going on? Why am I an apple? Just kind of things like that. But talking about the OSC, how did you get introduced to it?
Well, I have been in the OSC since 2014.
Oh wow.
So I would consider myself somewhat of a vet. So I the point is, I remember the wait for IDFB.
Oh, me too.
So yeah, and I found it through this website called Scratch. So any scratchers in the comments, say hell yeah. Okay. And I met Wraith and most of my friends through a Half-Life fan series, and one day I was just like, hey, want to see this cool show? And Wraith can speak more in detail about that.
Yeah, so I had watched, I think, the just BFDI a long time ago when I was, like, younger, but I hadn't really, you know, thought more of it since then, you know? It was just one of the things that I watched and then forgot about. And then as I became friends with Viper, we watch a lot of shows together and drag each other into our respective interests. And so she said that she wanted to show me this. And so we watched BFDI first. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember this, watching, you know, the first season. And I liked BFDI. It was very fun. But when we moved on to Inanimate Insanity, obviously at first I was like, wow, this is really bad. Like the first season, or at least the first part of the season. And then as you go on, it just gets you know, more and more in depth, and, you know, more, it gets better. And that Inanimate Insanity is what really hooked me into the OSC. It's Inanimate Insanity is by far my my favorite of the show. It's the only one that I have merch of. I have, like, I got the light bulb plush.
Aww.
And then I bought some stuff that was made by a friend of mine, Ginger Kingfisher, which I only just got recently.
Shout out Ginger.
Wait, Ginger King?
Shout out Ginger. I love Ginger.
I only recently talked to them. I've actually just started talking to them, so I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird.
No, I love Ginger. Ginger's great.
Yeah, they seem a great person. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the Clover plushie that they made, as well as a bow pin. But yeah, Inanimate Insanity is what has really stuck. I liked one a lot when it came out, but Inanimate Insanity has been the one that I has just stuck with me. And so that and one has been a lot of my inspiration for what I want to do with this show personally.
Okay, yeah.
I will say something that's a bit ironic. Initially, I wanted to make the show a bit more goofy and silly, and you were the one who was pushing for more serious stuff, and now I'm the one who... It's kind of switched around. I'm the one who advocates for more drama, probably because since then I watched a lot of Better Call Saul, and I'm like, I want to do that now!
Okay.
Yeah, see, a lot of it is just, we want it to start out very kind of lighthearted, right? You know, to be
so no one will
reminiscent.
know that something serious is coming. No one will ever know, now that we've said it live on stream.
I know, but I still, to be fair, how many people are actually going to be watching this stream who are, you know, like, I mean, obviously there are people watching the stream, but there's going to be a lot of people who aren't watching the stream.
Well, the moment I mentioned Better Call Saul, the viewer count went from 8 to 4, so I guess 4 less now.
Yeah, they were confused. It's not a Breaking Bad reference. I don't understand that. And then they just laughed immediately.
But, no, because, just, I want it to stay a lot, I want it to stay kind of more lighthearted in the first season at the least, to be more reminiscent of, like, the standard object show, and I want it to get kind of darker as we progress, and a lot of the stuff that you want to add, it's just a little bit, I just want to keep it as lighthearted as possible with only, like, smaller elements of more serious stuff in the first season, and then adding the much more serious stuff as we go.
Of course, yeah. Kinda slowly get into it. Yeah.
There are only 3 people who know what we have planned for the show, and it's the 2 of us and one other person who we will not name.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
There is actually one other person,
oh yeah,
who we brought on recently.
Ah, okay. But no, we were talking about the OSC. I kind of want to share my story about joining the OSC because
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I started watching BFDI before BFDI 25 came out, and I remember waiting for the finale.
Oh, damn.
My first vote was for Fiery to win.
Oh god, look what you did.
I know, look what I did. I caused this. Yeah, what a shame. Now I would have totally voted for Bubble, but yeah, Fiery won. It's all my fault, guys. If anyone's angry,
This is why. I mean, hey, to be fair, you're the reason we have Evil Leafy, and that's one of my favorite characters from BFDIA. So
possibly. Look, anyone that's angry at me voting for Fiery, please go to my YouTube account and start swearing at me or something. You know,
You're
Universe
everything
book is
that's
over
wrong.
party.
Yeah, you have to be canceled. You voted for anyone who voted for Fiery is hashtag problematic. They
You
hate
voted for
women's
Fiery
rights.
when you were 9, so you hate women.
Damn it! I just hate women. Damn it! I always knew. like I feel
quickly
like
became misogynistic.
Damn it. I feel like if people were to look at who I actually have voted for in BFDI's history, because whenever BFB did their post-split, I voted for Woody a lot of the time to stay. And now a lot of people would be like, why? Why would you do that, you monster?
It's insane how people will get so heated about voting on object shows.
Yeah. I
don't blame them, it's your favorite characters, but don't go attacking people.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But on another note, if anyone votes out Book from Teapot, I will get your IP address, unfortunately.
Only fair.
Yeah, only fair. You chose to vote Book, so you chose to keep your IP address private till I saw it. You know? Anyway, But yeah, actually, that kind of segues into, because my next question on that was like, what's your thoughts on the OSC as a whole?
I think the OSC is full of a lot of bright, young, creative people. I think that people can be pretty hot-headed about certain things that, in the grand scheme of things, don't really matter.
Yeah.
But the same can be said of basically any fandom. I also think there's a problem, which is almost hypocritical in a way, or not hypocritical, contradictory, in that although we let sort of minor things become big deals, we often let genuine terrible things that happen slide,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It definitely
Like I'm not gonna name names, obviously, because that would get a lot of trouble. But
No, we're not gonna name names. But I've definitely noticed where, like, I'll say like I'll make up a scenario like Timmy, part of the object show community. Timmy admits to murdering 5 people, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's tragic," but you voted for Fiery though. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that on the internet, where a lot of the people that actually are bad people, like, are fine.
Look,
but like,
Tommy, you may have run over 50 kids with your Toyota sedan, but like,
Yeah.
Bobby sympathizes with Blorbo Soingo.
Yeah, like, that Charles guy? He voted to save Foldy. Like,
God.
some people. He didn't vote to save Grassy like everyone else. Some people.
And get this, Flort said the F word.
Oh my god, we need to cancel them. Terrible. I've definitely always, since like 2017, whenever, obviously BFB started and a load of new audiences came into the Object Show community, with my new videos now, I'm always worried in case I say something stupid and get myself cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is...
I will say, though, we are focusing on the negative aspects of the community, but Dollars to Donuts, it is an amazing place.
Oh,
it's
yeah. Absolutely.
very LGBT friendly, which, if you've been around long enough, you knew it used to not be.
Yeah.
And although I wouldn't say it's the safest place for kids, nowhere on the internet really is. But it's a place where, young kids can express their creativity with other young kids, and it can be an amazing thing if managed right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely found that the Object Show community is very welcoming to nearly everyone. Like, whenever I came out as non-binary and made a video about it, a lot of the people that are part of the Object Show community were so supportive and so kind about it, which was such a different atmosphere than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I would definitely...
I think...
Oh, continue. Sorry.
I think Webbs spoke pretty well about how the Object Show community was very unsupportive initially when E had a bunch of LGBT characters. There were a bunch of queer characters. There were a lot of people who were detracting it. But nowadays it's just seen as kind of normal. Like, oh, of course this show has an almost entirely queer cast.
Yeah.
That's just kind of normal now.
Yeah, of course. I definitely saw those like tweets about kind of making every character part of the LGBT, and I thought it was pretty cool. We never see anything like that. So I was like, that's pretty cool to hear, and it'll definitely create a safe space for people that can kind of project themselves on the different characters.
Speaking of representation, Worm is bi-curious.
Is he?
I don't know, that's just something I like to say. I think it's funny, but genuinely though, we do consider representation to be very important in this show, because just about everyone who's involved in it is queer, believe it or not,
That's pretty cool, yeah.
we have, we plan on having canonically queer couples in the show, definitely.
That's pretty good, yeah.
And Jamie herself is a she/her gay man, which you don't really see represented in anything, even things that are predominantly queer.
You don't.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That was something that I was really adamant about, because we have Ollie, who is an any pronoun, but especially he, him, lesbian, which, while still very, very underrepresented, is something that gets talked about at least a little bit more, in queer spaces. But even in those spaces that talk about he, him lesbians, most people don't ever talk about or even think about, like she, her gay man. And so it was very important to me that if we had a he, him lesbian, we would also have a she, her gay man, and that's something that we've stuck with. And that's something that I'm very happy about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And two things I want to specify. Number one, I already said this on the Twitter. Next episode, get ready. There's gonna be a gay kiss.
Oh.
There is gonna be a gay kiss.
And number two, Jamie is not a James Charles parody. Please stop. Please. It's an accident.
It was entirely on accident.
Jamie, it was an accident. Jamie is not James Charles. Jamie is not racist.
Oh god, is this a joke I made and I've somehow started something?
That's entirely possible, but I think I remember some people commenting on it before that.
Yeah, no, people commented it before you,
Okay, good. I don't want to be like, so, Aiden started this really great joke that everyone won't shut up about. But, yeah,
Funniest shit I've ever seen. They turned that influencer into a lipstick.
Turned into a pickle. Funniest shit I've ever seen. But
unlike James Charles, Jamie is actually good gay representation.
Done.
At least we hope.
Well, yeah.
At least we hope it's good gay representation. I mean, I wouldn't know I'm not gay. I've never been gay. Sorry, I've been queer-baiting this whole time.
Damn it.
Yeah, actually, we're both cis-het. We've been lying to you this whole time.
Me too. Like, do you remember that video, guys, when I came out as asexual, non-binary? It was a joke. It was a whole joke.
No.
I'm actually a straight
I'm actually
cis
homophobic.
guy. Yeah, that's what this whole stream's about, right? We're just gay bashing?
Yeah, it's about how much we hate woke culture.
Yeah. And we hate
I
women.
don't know if we should say that.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Universe Book Podcast. Today, we hate women. We're joined by two straight people, and we're going to talk about how women...
Bad.
Dog, we're
Women
already
bad.
on thin ice with the community.
Oh no.
We can't- I just said that, like, most drama is dumb. We're gonna die if we keep making these jokes.
Oh no. Well, it's fine. You know, you get cancelled, then you kind of disappear for a week, and then you come back and everyone's already forgotten about it or something. Like,
Yeah.
unless you've committed, like, a real bad crime, then, you know.
The OSC.
Yeah, if you've committed a real bad crime, you only have to wait, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a duration of 2 weeks, which is a bit extreme. But no, I always find kind of the looming threat of something you say being put out of context, and then boom, you're cancelled, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's always.
I mean,
The
I feel like
OSC
most times people get in trouble, or at least when it's things that most people can say, oh, that's actually bad. Generally, it tends to be, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if it's over, like, I'm trying not to mince words, because talking about this subject, depending on how you phrase things, you will either sound like you're in the right or you're in the wrong, and you will sound like in the wrong just down to poor wording.
Absolutely.
Like, if I say shipping discourse is kind of dumb. That could easily be interpreted as I'm pro-ship.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
for the record, I am not.
Okay. I'm lost because I don't actually know what pro-ship means.
It's something you don't want to be. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, I'll agree with
Yeah.
you. I'll agree with you. I totally agree because I understand what that means.
No, see, the OSC has really intense bouts of discourse that everyone kind of just forgets about after a week. You know,
It definitely seems.
and it
to be
only
that
gets
way.
brought back up when some other discourse happens, and like, this discourse is happening. Remember that other discourse? This is equally as important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, you know how that one guy got exposed for being like super duper racist? Well, this person does something that's totally okay, but it's bad.
It's bad. We've disagreed. It's bad. This person's a woman. It's bad. Got them cancelled already. What a shame.
Yeah. Let's stray away from this topic. I feel like it could get very serious very fast.
That is
Yeah.
true. But one thing I want to take away from it is the universe book is over party. Share everywhere. I want to get cancelled before I do something stupid and do it to myself.
Hashtag universe book is over party.
This whole thing started from I voted for Fiery.
I voted for Fiery, guys. So, the best thing to do is to cancel yourself before anyone does it for you. So everyone.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, pull a good old salty DK Dan on yourself.
Yeah, I did anything horrible you can think of. I've committed that crime. Like, cancel me already. See?
Mhm.
But yeah, moving away from the cancellation side of the OSC, I want to kind of focus on the really creative side of it because I still kind of find it hard to imagine that this whole OC, or this whole object show community started with the first season of BFDI, and I'll use one
It's
as an
insane.
example. And I'll be like, yeah, someone watched that and went, wouldn't it be cool if a psychopath kidnapped people and we made this huge, like, story about it? Like, it's so cool that, like, the creative side of it. We'll see your thoughts on that and how creative the community can be.
I just gonna say,
Go
I
ahead.
think that the fact that they're objects lends itself to a lot of creativity that you can't really get the same way with like just regular people, right? Like if you took one and you kept it exactly the same but all of them were humans instead of objects, that would be a rated R that'd be like a rated R horror show that kids couldn't watch, right?
Not quite sure
But-
how Texi would work with that, but
For the most part. Obviously some of them would stay the same.
Like the most developed
But,
character of the whole show, Contact Lens.
But because you have them as objects, it's the same thing that a lot of like kid shows do. It's the reason why, a lot of the times they're fighting against like toads, or they're fighting against candy or whatever. It's because it allows you to explore more deeper kind of topics without making it too heavy by attaching like actual people to it, It's the same thing as why like there are so many like kids books with animals that are so much more messed up than anything you'll see with actual people, right? Like warriors, like the warrior cats, right?
Yeah.
deeply messed up book series
yeah,
for
yeah.
kids because it's cats and not human people.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for our brains to process, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
alright.
Like, if it was
The
humans,
porridge.
it would be terrifying. I think Warrior Cats would be like a horror film if it was humans.
Exactly.
It's
There's
like how The Last of Us would be taken so differently if it was objects.
yeah. And so by making it with objects, you can have a very similar kind of you can delve into those deeper topics without being so deep that it cuts off a large audience, you know?
Yeah. Gives you almost like a free pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I something about the aesthetic of it actually can make it a little more creepy as well. I don't know why that works, but like, I don't think I would enjoy one as much if it was with humans.
Mm-hmm. It also just, allows more creativity because you can think about, like, the different uses of, like, the object, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have different strategies and different things that they can do, and
Yeah, and one did it marvelously with XV and Abstracty. Basically all the weirdos from episode, was it 3 or 4? It was one of the episodes.
One thing I am thinking about now is I would actually have loved to have seen Turn Up in 1.
You mean Beat?
Or Beat, I should say. Sorry.
We got Beetroot, Turnip, Radish.
Yeah, Beat.
No one can tell what she is.
Beat. Also, there have been several comments saying he in the episodes where she's referred to as she, so I guess, she, he, Beat. That's not canon. It could be canon. Head canon.
Oh, yeah.
It's canon in your heart.
The pronouns of characters will never, comments will never get it right. I'm still fair, he, him. I've literally been called she, her, out of the blue by people. It's like, what do you mean? You almost have to have it, paste on top of your head for the comments.
I mean,
to get it
that's
right.
basically what we're doing. During the confessionals, we have their names and pronouns, but even then people can get it wrong.
Just the whole episode have a huge colorful red arrow pointing at them, they, them,
like a Vegas
they,
sign.
them. They'll still get it wrong. If prepared for them, they'll still get it wrong.
Over the speakers you hear, this person uses they, them pronouns. Down.
Everyone's watching it and they're like, yeah, he's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
This is my friend, he uses she, her pronouns.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna wrap things up soon. I have one more question that I just suddenly thought of and wasn't told to say this. This is a real reaction. The question I wrote down was, for a question, maybe you could ask about the music. So...
Natural, very natural, thank you.
Thank you. So, the music. How do you create your music? And how do you do it for Atmosphere? How do you...
Tell me about who would have guessed? I actually have a lot to say about the music.
What?
Wow, crazy.
Okay.
The music, I have collaborated, and we couldn't get them in here, but they're in chat right now. My friend Jay, Musical Jay, Sketchy Jay, you'll see the links everywhere. And Jay wrote the theme song and outro song, and I'm sure they have a lot to say about that, but they're not here right now, and I am. I do the background music for the episodes, and I happen to use a sample library on FL Studio of old Casio keyboards because I really like the sound. It's one of my hyperfixations. I have autism.
Oh, same. Autism group. Hell
If
yeah.
I could show it off, let me just pause the music on the stream real quick. I recently
You're showing your autism off?
bought myself a Casio VL1 keyboard. I can't show it, obviously,
You just
but I
you
can...
just wanted to top. You just wanted to bring out your new keyboard.
Yes, I do. I have autism. But genuinely, I think the sound fits because, you know, we start off the show as a more budget amateur sort of production in universe. And I imagine over time the music will evolve. So for now, you get little rinky-dinky little things like music like this. Hold on. Like that kind of instrumentation is what I'm going for the show for now. And it's really neat. We wanna, and another thing about the music, we have plans for the music. Not to get into too much. I'm only saying things we've said before in more semi-private settings. We've said it before. We do plan on having musical episodes.
Yes.
We even have one planned for this season later on in the season.
Okay. Like a.
We already have a
high school
song
version.
written, or two.
Okay, interesting. The autism soundtrack, I like it.
Yeah, we have songs for. We're working on songs for Lemmy. One done by Jay. You know, because Lemmy's a musician, and also I've been informed that I should mention that I use instruments that are commonly used in Homestar Runner because that's one of my hyperfixations. Thanks for letting me know that, Theo. Smiles.
Ah, okay. That's very interesting. So, before we wrap things up, do you want to take questions from the comments, Avi?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Any questions? In the comments, I'll look through them.
Yeah. Let me see. If anyone's here wants to answer, ask any
Question
questions.
from Sketchy J. Isn't that called strawmanning / Gen? No, it's not.
No.
I don't know what you were asking that about, but it's not.
Well, that was a very quick answer. Just, any other
Is
questions?
celery Dutch? Celery is European, and that's all you need to know.
European people aren't real, it's fine.
They're all the same.
Yeah. British people aren't real.
Question from Devil SZ Gamer and Doodles Catface # I hate group says, what happened? A lot of things, man. A lot of things.
Are you reading my comments or your comments?
I'm reading both.
Oh, okay. I looked down.
Marla Pickleson says, what is the name of an object show? Which one? Also, awesome name. Like, it reminds me of Tommy Pickles.
These are great.
They were
comments,
asking
guys.
about our show. It's the broadcast objective.
They joined the broadcast objective live stream to ask what the broadcast.
Is
Okay.
Celery referring to those Mudhouse videos in the new episode part? Yeah, the speed builds. I remember watching those, and I was like, this is the kind of stuff Celery would be into. Some real Sigma grind set videos. He also posts Patrick Bateman memes. And in this universe, Patrick Bateman, his object form is like a box cutter.
Okay. That's respectable. Bendy Fan Animations.
Very, very deep, important lore.
It is. Bendy Fan Animations, which the name you might actually recognize, says Beat has the most persist character or perfect. Oh, God, I'm dyslexic. Someone read that. Thank you. Jeez, the dyslexic, was sticking out. Processed character writing. Now that we know the origin. The origin is a beautiful story. I think that's...
Okay, here's another question. Honey, do you want to hang out after the stream? No!
No! Get away from me!
Jay Draws a lot asks, will you help me figure out how to get contact onto my PC? Smiles at you. No! How much of their base is made out of mud? Their house is very sloppy slurpy, so full of mud.
Well, that's great. I'm never talking to the comments again. That's awesome. anyone that wrote a comment, you have a restraining order.
Starry Night. That question gets answered in the next episode.
What was their question?
Can characters be
If
revived?
characters can be
You know,
revived.
I was going to ask that. But if it gets answered in the next one, along with, like, the kind of idea of
I will say,
permanent it is.
there's a 50-50% chance of it being yes or no, so that's cool.
Oh, interesting. I've always kind
But
of
technically that could be said for any yes or no question, so I didn't say anything
Yeah.
new.
I would love to see a kind of recovery center that, like, in a city that takes money, so you have to, like, pay a lot of money to actually get someone back. That would be an interesting kind of dynamic.
Yeah, that would be real interesting.
Yeah. This is the point where
Very interesting.
This is the point where you all hide your scripts and realize I've just spoiled something or something. Anyway,
Nah.
but yeah, that kind of wraps up the interview. I really do appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys were here to listen to me ramble and ask dumb questions. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna disappear here, hang up, and then threaten all my viewers. But it was lovely speaking to you both. I'll see you around.
Always speaking with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Alright. You can leave the call, and Wraith and I, we can wrap things up on the stream.
Okay. So that was our little chat. Okay. I hope you have enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I really do enjoy them. They seem like really dead on people. So it was lovely to be able to talk to them. Anyway, I'm gonna head on here. I don't know why he keeps shaking today. It's a bit weird. I hope you have enjoyed, and I will